This is how you walk across Slovenia. Every great hike starts with a first step. Well, for us it started with 3 flights actually, but we finally got to Slovenia, who everyone knows is
famous for the white horse.
But we're not here for that. We're here for the secret magic of their capital city, Ljubljana. What can I say about this darling capital? It's like if Wes Anderson got real drunk, got a civil planning degree, and built a fanciful city. Even on a damp day, Ljubljana offers charm on tap and doesn't take itself too seriously. Like this delivery truck with a cheeky cartoon proudly joking that their meats can satisfy even the most profound sexual desires. So obviously I immediately had to try Slovenia's famous meats for myself, and let me tell you, they did not disappoint. Juicy kielbasa, spicy mustard, and fresh roll for $5, I am definitely satisfied. Walking off my sausage celebration, I truly could understand how everyone that visits the city can easily fall in love. We checked into Hotel Slamek, located dead center of the city and run by a staff that lovingly keeps me company at the bar. You can't really get much more local than this hotel, opened by Frank Slamek in 1932 and run by his attentive family ever since. The rooms are modern and comfortable, and a perfect launching point for the ultimate hike, which all started a few months ago when I received a girthy package from On Foot Holidays outlining the entire trip and what I needed to bring, including, yes, a compass. This excited me to no end, since my love affair with travel took place in the before times, when there were no cell phones, no internet, no GPS. Just you, a map, and sheer cheap red wine-induced ignorance to get you completely lost with absolute confidence. Compasses have been long out of fashion for decades, but fortunately I am a collector of highly rare and useless objects, which include compasses. The only question was, which one to take? So, what's in this packet? Well, lots of info, guidelines, tips, introductions, city knowledge, restaurant recommendations, luggage tags, and of course, maps for each day's hike. To walk across a country using nothing but analog tech tickled my inner Hemingway. But as a backup, On Foot Holidays has an absolutely killer app that outlines each day step by step, driven by GPS, so you can never get lost along the way, and runs inconspicuously in the background to make it look to your wife like you know exactly how to use a compass and a map. They really have thought of everything. In the morning, our local host drove us to the start of our journey, and then continued on to drop off our luggage at that night's hotel so we could hike unencumbered.
We're starting the walk in this adorable little town. Here we go.
Starting in the hamlet of Landal, we really didn't know what to expect. Gravel logging roads led into countryside that was bursting with cherry blossoms, so many that they lined the path like a ticker tape parade. The views were wholesome and idyllic, and before long, we reached the epic Predjama Castle. In the shade of this cavernous stronghold, we enjoyed a frighteningly cold radler. That's beer and lemonade for the uninitiated, and the greatest hiking beverage you can consume.
I know.
Hydrated and now a bit tipsy, we continued tenderly on the trail, which is fortunately clearly marked to keep you on track, regardless of how many radlers you enjoyed. We met some new friends, crossed screensaver-worthy landscapes, and even hopped on an impromptu ride on a school bus because hiking is a state of mind, we determined. About 6 hours later, we reached our home for the night, the family-run ecotourism farm Hadisbec, nestled in the opposing shade of Mount Nanos.
At the end of day 1, 8 miles would be by absolutely stunning. And our accommodations for the night.
We were starting to understand something special about Slovenia. This wasn't a capitalistic-driven corporate country, it was a family-run business. Generations of caring families dedicating their life to something special, which we were lucky enough to experience firsthand. And even deep in the country, no comfort or amenity was overlooked. They even included an adult-sized trampoline. I mean, come on, what more could you want? The room was darling, hand-hewed and woodworked with simple elegance and functional comfort. But who really cares when your view is this verdant bliss? Walking to your dinner builds up some crazy appetite. Fortunately, this is farm country, where you walk among your supper. Plus, it's wine country, so you know you'll be satisfied belly to soul. Little fried snacks and life-affirming mom-made soup set the tone, and then you're giving delicious steak and even horse that is so tender and succulent you ask for seconds. Finish off with some homemade desserts and you won't even think about hunger again until you see the legendary breakfast in the morning. Farmhouse cheeses, cured meats, pâté, pickled veg, local fruit, and honeys will help you greet the day. A breakfast that truly makes you want to take to the path and conquer any terrain which you'll need to summit the slopes of Mount Nanos.
Day 2, and we're going up there.
Today you get a different perspective of Slovenia. There are caverns and military ranges and a network of sheep trails to playfully confuse you. But fortunately, I had my trusty compass. No, I'm just kidding. We used the app the whole way. It's so convenient. About halfway up, we found the chapel of St. Nikolai and rang the bells for good luck that echoed in the valley below. Then we stopped at a nearby glen to have a little lunch and discover that we forgot the wine key. Fortunately, in college, I lived with 3 kids from France, and they taught me this boot trick that certainly comes in handy.
Jim Green boots, also a wine opener.
Merci, Jacques, Jocelyn, and Guillaume. The local rosé, slightly bruised, went down clear and cold and fueled the descent off the mountain real nice. Before long, we found ourselves in the town of Opava, completing a challenging 17-kilometer hike with a 700-meter climb in around 6 hours. The town was pristine, large marble public spaces, quaint cafes and bars lining the perimeter. Inside, house-made gelato and ice-cold beer waited for us. The bar owner, hearing that we were from California, gave us an excited tour of our home that our family's owned for generations. Then we slid next door to the Corin Apartments where we would bed down for the night. Tired but hungry, we walked down to Gostilna Podferov's, which probably has its Michelin star by the time you see this. Phenomenal wine pairings and house-made broths, amuse-bouches, and local delicacies. Carpaccio with pistachio cream was a revelation, and their polpettino in wild mushroom brodo was divine. Finish it all off with a slow-braised local pork, and it's a restaurant easily worth a 6-hour walk. Before our beefy 15-kilometer trek to Kudreti, we were greeted by a rustic breakfast, bountiful enough to feed an army, which we ended up seeing marching through the streets, going up to the hills for some training. Aside from the morning military valor, it's quiet and tranquil here, and it was lovely making our way to the edge of town to visit a local cemetery for something truly unique. 2 4,500-year-old Egyptian sarcophagi here in the middle of Slovenia.
That Sir Anton Lawrence brought back in the 18th century because he found them, and his family is buried inside of these sarcophagi that are thousands of years old and are in the middle of this very small town in Slovenia. Slovenia, where anything can happen.
I mean, that's a good tagline. We continued on and quickly found ourselves deep within the heart of wine country. This was the infamous Karst Valley, where some of the world's best wines begin from this unique limestone terroir. We passed through tiny hamlets that dotted the hilltops, and past the occasional war memorial, which are always stunning in their brutalism. We even saw perhaps the smallest, cutest little library on the planet. Then through the flower and art-lined lanes, we stumbled upon ancient churches that we stopped to enjoy the cool shade in the hot afternoon. Then, descending once again through dense thickets that yielded rows of more chartreuse-lined vines. Grapes everywhere, and not a drop to drink. What a cruel tragedy. That's when we ran into Matej. He was coming home, and we happened to be walking across his yard, and one thing led to another, and soon we were 3 bottles deep and new best friends. He welcomed us into his home. We met his lovely family and his pets, and then we stumbled upon the topic of nocino, which is my favorite obscure liqueur, which he promptly gifted us with 2 of his personal bottles that he made himself from his walnut trees. I'm not saying best day ever, but best day ever. Having drunk our weight in the bounty of the land, we popped a quick pocket coffee to straighten us out the last half mile, which gave me gladiator-type endurance. 15 stunning kilometers in about 7 hours isn't bad, considering 2 of those were drinking with new friends. Greeted by the loveliest ladies I've ever seen, we rolled into Hisa Posebne Sorte, an all-inclusive agro-bio luxury homestead with stunning grounds to explore. The apartment we had was lovely, with a full kitchen and the friendliest neighbors you could ever ask for. As the sun set, we were treated to a little fireside chat in their massive tasting room to get to know the award-winning wines that they produce. Shortly after, we were enjoying them with an exquisite dinner of smoked asparagus bisque, shoulder of lamb, and a fruity pomegranate granita before hitting the hay. The morning brought a delicious breakfast of all farm-fresh delights, and with our packed lunch, we headed out once again. We walked through the town of Zolkiel and up to the fortified entrance of Sanyel that dates back to the Bronze Age. This is a storybook town, greeting you with local honey where everything is on the trust system. Friendly pets come out of the shade to say hi to you as you meander through the spiraling streets that are lined with vines and wildflowers. A local man, upon seeing us, opened up his workshop to personalize one of his wood carvings for us. The entire town was ours, free to wander and explore this fairy tale. On the far side of town, we discovered the lush Ferrari Gardens. Just to make this crystal clear, this is where Enzo Ferrari would come to take his mind off building the most beautiful cars in the world. That's how magical this place is. At the sun's zenith, we stopped at the Grand Staniel, which is a luxurious hotel restaurant within the ancient city walls. We sat in the shade, enjoying an aperitivo and house-made gelato as the sun tried to attack us through large linen umbrellas. When we were ready to descend, we hopped a ride in a tractor to the bus stop. I should mention the tractors. In Slovenia, your wealth, in fact your entire well-being, is based on how many tractors you own. I don't know why, not sure they do either, but it's lovely and kinda an innocent boyhood take on keeping up with the Joneses. Regardless of how you see it, you can always find one rumbling past to take two gelato-soaked weary travelers down the road. Continuing on the cheating train, we hopped on a local bus to roll into town, now 16 kilometers where we started this morning and quite hungry. We were greeted by an explosion of violet wisteria outside the Domicilia Sepulia where we'd be staying the night. The apartment was a stunner, modern and extremely spacious, but the ancient courtyard was the place to soak in the golden hour of the day. Dappled in late afternoon sunshine and surrounded by stone and wood, we explored the historic manor before setting down for another divine meal. Artisan mousses on hearth-baked bread, carpaccio di manzo and young grassy olive oil, bay leaf and frutto di bosco linguine washed over us like a flood of flavor. All this not to be outdone by the chocolate and mascarpone cheesecake with fresh strawberry drizzle. We slept like gods that night. The morning brought a Bavarian breakfast. Warm baked goods, freshly squeezed juices, and thick-cut ham greeted us, not to mention a delicious, rich, frothy cappuccino to wash it all down. This was truly a breakfast to prepare us for our greatest descent. The Skokan Caves have been a natural phenomenon that have been mesmerizing travelers and explorers since their discovery in the 1500s. One of the largest cave systems in the world, their 1,000-foot thick layer of Cretaceous limestone has trapped the fierce Reka River underground for over a mile. This is the reason why the wine here is so unique and exceptional. The ground is completely porous with the rich minerality from limestone that is unlike any other place on Earth, and here you get to walk through it. The 2-hour descent and ascent was an intense way to start the 21-kilometer trek to Trieste, Italy, which we proudly conquered by taking a cab. Yes, of course you can walk through amazing forested valley, then arriving on the Italian border, hop on a vintage tram into the city center. But what I love about on-foot holidays is that you're not trapped into an itinerary. So if your need for a pizza is a bit too great, you can easily tweak your plans. Our final stay was at the Italo Moderna Hotel Coppe. I love this property with its post-Memphis wink of Italian sleek design right in the heart of the city. It was a great final place to stay, and just like that, a parade came rolling down the avenue as if celebrating our great accomplishment of walking, mostly across Slovenia. Thank you very much. We enjoyed a quick nosh at the hotel before heading out to explore the city. Deprived for nearly a week of people, places, and percussion, it was truly exciting to be in a proper city again. Trieste is teeming with young, vibrant locals that know how to waste the day away. Every corner seemed to have an open-air bar with a DJ ladling out some deep beats. The architecture here is charming, staunchly Bavarian and vaguely Italian, with a large waterfront that is celebrated by everyone that calls this historic city home. We floated through town, taking in the sights, especially enjoying the smack of jellyfish that had come into the harbor to enjoy the afternoon sun with us. We took in some good vintage shopping, which Trieste is absolutely lousy with. You can find anything here, and if not in a shop, their antique markets will blow your mind. Miles of treasures that you just won't find on eBay even in the deepest searches. I've been to Italy countless times, my family's from here, but I never gave Trieste much thought. How foolish I was to overlook this sassy and sacred city by the sea. I felt strangely at home.
Hey, it's me! It's me! Look, it's me!
You're asking, of course, how the food is. Well, let me tell you, it's amazing. We enjoyed the Antico Cafe San Marco, whose independent bookshop keeps Trieste literary history alive. There's the clandestine Priona Cafe, whose brioche and cappuccino have fueled the minds of such giants as James Joyce and Umberto Saba. And when aperitivo hour hits, Triestesi take it dead seriously, coming out in force to light up the night before dinner. You can get your neighbors on at the Antica Pizzeria da Michele, who have the obligatory poster of Julia Roberts eating a pie on the wall. While they're famous for their legendary fireball pizza, I kept it classy because, I really like having eyebrows. Of course, there are anti-pizza places too, like Osteria Becco. They will wow you with their mind-bending marinara mussels and ridiculously fresh tartare, but don't forget about their pancetta raviolo and frutta di mare spaghettoni, which will put the proverbial nail in your hunger coffin. One thing that we love to do is try foreign foods in foreign countries because you'd be surprised how good it is. Tang ramen didn't disappoint either. Their slow braised spicy pork ramen with hand-pulled noodles is a wild punch of Taiwan and Trieste in one bite. But saving best for last is Osteria Marisi, whose menu is so fresh they write it on paper tape. This place is all about the ingredients. We're talking about hand-picked wines and house-made farm-fresh everything. All local flavors, all local dishes, like home cooking if your mom was Nadia Santini. Before taking our final steps onto the plane home, we took the morning to digest this amazing week, exploring a new country entirely on foot. Here comes the reflection. There is something about slow travel, off the phone, compass in hand, uncertainty ahead, that lends itself to massive discovery. Not just new restaurants or wine or people, although that happens too, but self-discovery. The voice in your head gets quieter but louder. You realize more and react less, and that is a real gift in this age of digital experiences and disposable memories. So all we got to say is thank you, Slovenia, for leading us to a truly memorable experience, step by beautiful step.